Call this CUB Board of Directors meeting to order. No public present. We will move on to approval of minutes. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
There's a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. On to item 4, approval of vouchers. You have the vouchers. They've been disseminated. And for your review, do I hear a motion to approve the vouchers?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. On to item number 5, General Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We are happy to say that we are back in the black. The devastation from the storms have now filtered through our both August and September statements, and we are in a positive position in both water, sewer, and electric for October. We're at 118, and we're starting to chip away for that deficit for our storm reduction. Dudley, you want to add to any of that?
Not really. I mean, that pretty much sums it up. The electric sales, less power cost is about 100 and something thousand less than last year and 200,000 less than the forecast. And the rest of it is in this operating expense, 415,000. As Greg said, we had the big storm, 700,000. So we've chipped away at that number. And hopefully by year end, we'll be right around this ballpark on the budget. And the water department, anytime the water and sewer is in the black, we consider that really good. And things are all good. That's all I have.
Do I hear a motion to approve the monthly reports? And is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Anybody have any questions?
We seeing any impact from the last 10 days of rain?
No. You know, I think TVA still causes this a drought. You know, we had an issue down by the bridge. Apparently, the construction folks down there, there was a direct response to a collision on that manhole, and we're thinking something dropped down in there, and we got a call from TVA because somebody sent in a movie or something like that off the phone, which is really good, and of course they don't call us, they send us an email. You know, that's almost like a postcard, right? So we get it the next morning, which which morning was that? Was that this morning?
Yeah, it was this morning when we first saw it.
Yeah, we saw the email this morning, we went right down there, and by the time we got there, we saw where the damage was done to the manhole, and whatever blockage was there is no longer there, so, I mean, it's free flowing. So whatever it is cleared, and now we're gonna work with Blaylock to see about getting the materials to fix whatever that was. So, I mean, if you wanna say that's we had the drain filled up, spilled out over the road. That's what they were filming, you know, but generally a storm surge can do that, you know. And is that one of the ones we seal? See, normally we have that sealed because of where it sits down low. So we used to, under the bridge, you know, going on Main, I mean, it would almost lift that up, so much was coming up. But we did a lot of work to square that away. And this, again, had it not been damaged, it would not have been a problem. And however they damaged that with their equipment, whatever dropped down in there, the blockage is not there, but if it's a piece of concrete, Betty, it's gonna be an issue again, sooner or later. You know, and then we were pumping out on Ridgeview, and simultaneously somebody had an issue in their crawl space, and they had a rotted pipe out, and they thought it was because we were pumping, which actually was helping them, you know. So other than that, Greg,
That's all I'm
those are
aware
the two things I've got my thumb on, so
That's all I'm aware of.
that's all I have on that.
Any other discussion or any questions? A motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion approves on the project status reports.
Yes, we're tracking 3, and I tell Todd, it's so funny. I regurgitate pretty much what he says, and I told him, only interrupt me when I can be proved wrong. So I'm going to say everything that he wrote down here, so he won't interrupt me. And we're 100% complete on this 795. This is a double circuit that went down, and if you go towards Oak Ridge, you've seen us out there working on that. That went very well, and we're now, it's 100% complete, and all we'll do is eventually put the numbers to that before we close it. We've got 3 and odd ACSR on Glen Avenue. That project's going very well, and it should be done and completed by February of next year. And we've just started this 3 and odd on Chesterfield, and that we have planned for completion by March of 2023. And that's all I have, Todd. I mean, how could I miss? Because I'm reading what you wrote down here.
All correct.
There it is. That's great. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman, on the project status.
All right, will you continue with approval of purchase orders?
I will. We've got 3 for your consideration. We've got transformers, and as you can see, we continue to have delivery issues. The best we can do is the third quarter of 2023, and that it's so good because they can change that. And I mean, that's the number that they gave us. And if it seems like they're getting close, they'll just let us know. Say, no, I'm sorry, that's not going to work. I say that because they've done that before on some purchase orders that we have. But we went through this, and we're recommending, even though we had different bidders, as you can see, it's substantial, $617,269. We're recommending that as the lowest and best bid for these both pole mount and pad mount transformers.
Do you want to take them one at a time? Is that what we're going to do?
I can, whatever you want. I can give you all 3 if you
Give us
like.
all 3, why not?
Ductile iron, these are the big poles that you see, and what Todd and I are trying to do is everywhere where it makes practical sense in terms of we value out the position, the location of the pole, what's on the pole, what we can expect to, if it's going to be loaded in the future, and where we can, and it makes financial sense or safety sense, we're putting ductile iron out there instead of these wood poles. And essentially, that's what these ductile iron poles are. And we're recommending that the best bid and lowest is to Border States at $69,138. And finally, we've got fiberglass arms. As you can see, we've got 4 vendors quoting that. Border States has come in at the best overall, which is $65,675. And I recommend the board approve these 3 purchase orders for the cross arms, for the ductile iron poles, and for the transformers.
Do you hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do you hear a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, that's all I have.
Any other business?
I had a question. Has CUB done anything with the North Carolina power plant issue? Have we
Well,
sent people or-
as a matter of fact, the local folks, emergency response groups called us just to reaffirm. It was a nice contact that if any situation ever came up, then they are available. What we have, what they don't have, and some get tired of hearing this word, I understand, Flizzer. If you remember, we lost 3 subs. I mean, they would have to be really a military group, well-defined. And then what took these out, we're going to find more on, because these are hardened steel, so it's not like a rifle shot, would get in there. It'd be an M50 or something like that. I don't know what took these out, and I don't know if they were hitting insulators or what, because they talked some that it would be days. Had you heard any more on that,
I have
Todd?
not, and they've been very slow to release exactly because they don't want to get that information out there.
Yeah, they need to get them out to the utilities, how we can harden, but there's only so much we can do. These stray shots, and you see these guys with these rifles, that other than an insulator, which, unless they don't have one, you know, you can get those on relatively quickly. But what we would do immediately is we would go into Flizzer and we would have these folks back on. And if it happened to more than one, we could still do it with more than one. So,
I didn't know if it was like, hurricanes or tornadoes where we have people that we send if they need help. But in
no,
this case,
no, that's a technical, it's in the fence. It's in the fence. Todd suspects, and I'm not gonna speak for you, but we've talked, he suspects that it could be a supply chain issue, which is amazing to me, because we would call, we've got a connection in our friends, as they have called us in the past, and we responded. Well, we'll send them what they need, and they would send us what we need, and that's valley-wide. They would do that. They would get in the car as we would get in the car. We have gotten in the car before. Supply chain, if it's a supply chain. If it's a major transformer, one of the big transformers, we have spares in the yard, As a matter of fact, we've got transformers that we are energized, and we go from one to the other. So, I mean, they're up and moving all the time. It would take more than one to go out, is what I'm saying.
I'm
And
just curious that, after reading that, do they reach out to other utilities?
our
to help, or is
biggest problem is cyber. That's the danger, I think, is the greatest threat. And we've talked to TVA a lot about that, because we see the threat on that. And this EMF, if we get into a global thing, these electromagnetic pulses, which is why we push for hardened electronics all the time that would withstand these pulses coming. And we have got, because we're so squirrely, we've got stashes of equipment located throughout our system, so they can't get us at just one place.
Good.
Our ex-police chief in Clinton,
Yes, sir?
through his current position, is tied directly into the terrorism task force. And I have found him to be a really good resource if you need to know things about any information out there going around about Clinton as a target, or maybe just filling in what you don't know about what happened in North Carolina.
It's so good that you said that. I was talked to and told them that I would consider the Department of Homeland Security because they need a local leadership to go through some of that, And the problem is if there was, we constantly would get alerted for potential threats, but one of the things of course they give you a vest and a badge and 1,500 rounds of ammunition every month, because they want you to go out there and practice, which would be great for me, because that's what I do anyway. So, I would be the first to know, and we already know the people that's houses that we go and steal their stuff, because if it's bad stuff, they got the snack bar down there, we already got that in the safe,
Any other questions or anything else to come before the board this evening? Hearing none, I adjourn.